everyone, and welcome to episode 22 of Around the Kingdom, a Disney Magic Kingdoms podcast by a guy who earned a trophy for getting trophies. Coming to you from Mama Odie's tree, I am your host, Steve Squirrel, and this week from the Great White North, we have a good friend of the show joining us again, Casey.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Thank you so much for having me on, by the way.
I'm so glad to have you again. We had such an awesome time the last time you were here, so thanks for coming back on the show. And thank you to each and every one of you out there for joining us this week as we explore the wonderful world of Disney Magic Kingdoms. Before we get started, I want to give a big shout out to our Patreons, Carrie Schumann, Anita Anderson, Kathy Clausen, Honeybee, and Kira. Thank you so much for your continued support. We are already over halfway to our first show goal, so if you want to help support the show, please check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/AroundTheKingdom. Also, if you want to be more involved with our show, you can join our Facebook group, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and now on YouTube. It's a good way to stay in touch with me and the community of the show. The links to everything will be in the show notes and can also be found on the show's main Facebook page. The kingdom's always changing, so for reference, this show is being recorded on Wednesday, February 27th at around 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, intros are over. Let's get into the good stuff. KC, what have you been doing this week in the kingdom?
Well, everybody knows that so far we've been getting up to Tiana, which will be next week. But the great thing about it is I finished a couple days early, so that gives you enough time to obviously try anyway, to try to get more event currency, try to get some of the characters leveled up, because you're going to obviously need them leveled up further as the game goes on. And yeah, that's basically it. Just trying to keep on track with everything. Awesome.
Yeah, it's cool when you have that little bit of extra time and that buffer, so you can kind of get things done in between. So speaking of getting stuff in between, from my main storyline, as I've said before, I am on hold. I've put everything on hold. I still have Wendy and Shere Khan in the on-deck circle, ready to be welcomed when the event is over, but I'm just kind of holding off on them for now. I don't want any token conflicts, and kind of okay, just keeping things slow for now. I've done a few side quests here and there, but for the main part, not too much as far as storyline goes. Another major milestone in my week in the kingdom was I hit level 49!
Nice!
So I got a whopping 1,450 magic, and, believe it or not, 1 gem.
Yes. 1 gem. Wow.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you. Level 49.
They need to fix that, don't they?
They don't need to fix it. I think they just need to implement something else that has to do with levels.
It should be like, I guess this is a little bit extreme, but like level 49 gems.
Yes. Especially when you go to you're going to level 60, I think is the max.
Yeah.
And that's it. You know what I mean? So you just kind of get stuck there. And between levels, it takes a player who's pretty avid in the game a long time, a couple of weeks at this point, to go between levels. So I don't know. Mm-hmm. I think something should be implemented. I think it's a great system to have levels in a game because it makes you feel like there's a sense of progression. I just think
exactly.
I think something needs to kind of be tweaked with that.
Well, by the way, in case you're wondering what my level is, thank you very much. My level is 55.
55.
So, 55. But I've been playing since the very beginning, so I mean.
Well, I think that probably at 56 you'll get about 1,600 magic and 1 gem.
Yes, I need that 1 gem.
Goals to look forward to. All right. Also, during Chapter 2, we knew that Mama Odie was going to be the only character joining the kingdom. So once I welcomed her and got all of the quest stuff that I needed to do for her done, I started leveling on characters that I felt were on the safe list. Piglet, Belle twice, Snow White, Mushu, Sleepy, Zero, Stitch, and Fauna all got some levels. And then I started sending some people out for level 10, since you don't need any get new token conflicts for that. So Judy Hopps and Anna Judy Hopps is now at 10. Anna is being welcomed, or I'm going to say being leveled, I guess, as we speak. And then I have to pick someone for tomorrow morning for the last 24-hour stretch before the next chapter begins. So that's kind of how I like to finish the chapter, because I just want to try to make sure all the tokens are accounted for, so that I have a nice clean slate going into the next segment, which is going to be pretty exciting, but we'll get into that shortly. Now, the Lifetime Visitors Board! Yes.
Yes.
I am down to rank 135,488. Watch out, 125, I'm coming for you. It's going real slow, though. I mean, in a week, I'm only getting a couple of thousand at a time now. It's really, starting to be much slower in how much I progress. So this really goes to show, in my opinion, how many like really hardcore, not hard, but just very active players there are. This is right around like where I think, if you're looking at like around 135,000 and it's hard for me to kind of go up, I'd say this is right around the average number of very active players, that are playing like religiously, like, checking multiple times a day and doing things like that. I think that's probably where that number is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it's like, speaking of hardcore, like I'm looking at for my side anyway, the number one person, like it's insane. Like just how high it is. Like you and me and a lot of people, we check pretty casually throughout the day when we can. But I mean, I'm at 53,391,320, so 16,864.
Wow.
I don't know if that's that good, but then number one on mine is 115 million.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's double, almost triple what I'm at. So
yeah, but 60,000 is great. I mean, think about that. I think that's a very impressive number.
Well, thank you.
Something I aspire to.
I'm finally good at something in life. What can I say?
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, well, so that's been our Weeks in the Kingdom. That's awesome. So now we're going to move on into the newcomer tip of the week. And as always, I like to ask my awesome guest to provide something. Casey's got something for you. What do you got for us, Casey?
Well, everybody knows that the premium currency in this game is gems. That's what it is. And usually in this game, people want to get good characters, limited time characters, or buildings, or premium stuff. So my tip is going to be the parade slots, because we all know that when you put the parade floats on the slots, you get gems. So if you can do that multiple times a day and you get lucky even one float a day, you times up by the week and by the month, I mean, you're looking at a fair amount of gems when it's over. I can't do the math because it's random, but I would say on average, maybe 100 gems, 150 gems a month is possible. But that's just with one float drop per day plus the two from the ad. So let's say five gems a day times 35 is 35. 7 times 5 is 35, and then times it by the month it's like 140, 150. That's just from one float. So yeah, it adds up. So that's my tip.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. For newer players, I definitely suggest getting the first 5 slots as quickly as possible. As long as you're going to kind of keep on top of that, because the parade runs 2 hours long and it's a 4-hour cooldown. So it's every 6 hours that you can run a parade. And if you have 5 slots, there's a good chance you're going to get a gem drop a day. There's a very good chance. A lot of times multiple. And they add up. This is how you get the premium characters. This is how you get everything that you want in the game. So, yes, great tip. Thank you, KC.
Thank you.
All right, now let's move on into the game news. All right, so what everyone's been waiting to talk about, Chapter 2 of the Princess and the Frog event began, and the first thing we had to do, which we were waiting on at the end of the last episode, was to welcome Mama Odie. So the chapter began, and welcoming Mama Odie began, and I would say, she was a difficult welcome. She definitely had quite a few drops that were hard, and some of them took, multiple hours, but I didn't feel like it was overly difficult. She took, I'd say, a little bit longer than a day, which for a segment like this, with a week segment wasn't too bad at all. How did you find your drops for welcoming Odie?
Well, first of all, Mama Odie is a great name. I love that name a lot. And honestly, it was pretty good. I mean, the pacing can sometimes be a problem in these limited time events. And right now, I think we might be getting almost too much time. But that's where the drawback could be. Well, moving forward, it could be really, really tight. So we're hoping, all of us, that it's going to be a really good pace still. So we have a chance of getting everything. But so far, everything's peachy. On my end, anyway.
Yeah, awesome. And we'll talk a little bit about what's to come in a little bit. But yeah, no, I agree. The pacing so far has been good. And I think that it's been very fair to new players as well. I know lots of players that are new. I've gotten a lot of people into this game because I talk about it a lot. So a lot of my friends who are newer players, they're doing just fine in this event. A lot of them have spent the couple of dollars to get the premium characters, but with them, they're just doing fine. They're able to have more than enough EC when they've needed it. They're able to get the drops they need. So this event is going pretty smooth sailing right now, which is nice after the difficult tower challenge that we just experienced.
Yeah, I get the feeling that after maybe the ire of some people, I think they kind of dialed it back a little bit, hopefully, just to make it a little bit more fair for everybody.
Yeah, I think so. I think that these events get planned far ahead of time, and while they could make some tweaks to it, I feel like this, they give. There's a good amount of discrepancy between how hard they make things and how easy they make things, and I think that they knew that last one was going to be a challenge, and so I think Gameloft decided that they were going to make this one smooth sailing, which I think was a fantastic idea.
Yes, so. And also, I guess I could toss this in here because we're still talking about The Princess and the Frog. I'm assuming you've probably seen the movie.
Oh, definitely, absolutely.
You did. Well, personally, I'd never seen it, so I'm like, you know what? I gotta get on this. And I gotta watch it, and then I watch the movie, and the event comes out, and my favorite character is not in it.
Yes, Ray is your favorite character.
Yes. I loved him so much. I'm not going to talk about the ending, but yeah.
Yes. Yeah, no, I did have an interview with Squirrely, my daughter, last week. I posted up, and she mentioned, too, that her favorite character was Ray. All I have to say is maybe coming to a tower challenge near you.
Maybe.
But, okay. Yeah, so at the same time that Mama Odie was welcomed right at the beginning of Chapter 2, Tiana's Palace bundle became available. And also just the palace itself became available as well. The bundle was the palace plus 3 radiant chests for $3.99 US dollars. So, again, a pretty fair price for getting, chests which had the decorations, which have tokens. So a concession stand, the green cream frog concession stand, which I still have not gotten. So I think that was a pretty fair price. Also, the palace was just 150 gems, which, again, I think is a pretty fair price for the attraction. The palace has a chance every 4 hours to drop Prince Naveen ears, the Mama Odie ears, and Mama Odie's Gourd Wand token. Also, one of the benefits of Tiana's Palace is it lets Prince Naveen go out on a quest for 2 hours to get Mama Odie's ear tokens instead of his standard 6-hour quest to get one as well. So it speeds up getting Mama Odie and getting her to levels you need and getting her tokens. So I wound up spending the gems for it. And I think that it was well worth it, and I brought it into my kingdom. Casey, did you bring Tiana's Palace into your kingdom?
I actually did, and it's funny because I don't always buy all those premium buildings. I'll go for the characters, but not so much the building. But I went for this time, and it's been a massive, huge plus. It really sped things up a lot. That's the good thing about this game is if you do buy anything premium, they boost you a lot. And some other games don't tend to do that. But in this game, you buy something premium, it's definitely going to help you.
I totally agree. I mean, we've talked about before on the show, and I'll mention again for people who are newer listeners, that when you get premium characters, they will have like 2-hour quests for things that other characters will have 6 or 8-hour quests for. So they really speed things along. Like the last example I can think of, for example, is King Louis. You know, he has a 2-hour quest to get the epic items that people are taking either 6, 8, or 12 hours to get. So premium characters do help speed things along. But yeah, I think the palace is awesome. I think it's really great design. The art and the animation is fantastic. So yeah, I think it's a really welcome addition to the kingdom. So yeah, there's that. So
also a neat Ray, by the way.
Huh?
Also a neat Ray, the character.
Yes,
I had to toss that in there again.
Yes,
I'm so sad it's not in there.
Yeah, a lot of people are.
Yeah.
I'm in the Ray fan club too. But okay, so after that was done, and you welcomed Mama Odie, you were able to then do some quests, and the ability to build the Going Down the Bayou attraction became available to you. However, you needed to get Mama Odie to level 2. For me, that was very, very easy. I think I was actually, by the time I'd completed the quests to get the attraction to open, I've already collected enough tokens. So I just had to hit the button. It was a 6-second level up, which I was able to speed up for free. Because I couldn't wait. I couldn't wait those 6 seconds. It was.
I don't understand even the point of that. It just makes me laugh. It's like 6 seconds. Hey, let's speed that up.
Yeah. So I sped it up because I did. Because I'm that impatient. And yeah, so I got it and I built the Going Down to the Bayou attraction. It took 8 hours, I believe, to bring into the kingdom, and it's really cool looking. I think they did a really, really amazing job with how it looks. So
I personally think pretty much everything they've ever done in the game, it looks like they really put like a lot of time and effort, because it's even like the small details, like especially in the animations and stuff as well. It's like dead on, like with the movies. They do some amazing job. So kudos to all the artists and all the people who put it all together, because some games don't always get the same looks as some of the other things they have in the games. But no, they did a good job for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, the artists and the sound people, they need more recognition. So, but yeah, again, I agree with you. Big kudos to them. We talk about the devs a lot, because they're kind of like the people we think about for like designing and doing all that kind of coding and stuff. But the sound people and the animation people and the art people.
Yeah, let's give it up.
Big shout out.
Clap for them. Yes.
Yeah. We actually did. It was very cool. Going off on a tangent, they had the video with the artist who did all of the stained glass behind all of the different characters, and it was really amazing. The way that they went through and did all that. So they spent.
Yeah, I think that was at the end of. Was it the live streams that they had done that?
Yeah. Yep. At the end of the live stream, they had done that, and it was really, really cool to watch, and it's really great, and it's amazing. These guys put a lot of time and a lot of work into this, so thank you guys for doing it. We do love this game. That's why we're here.
Once again, just a small clap for them.
Yeah, that's why we're here.
Yes.
Okay, so Going Down to the Bayou got built. Then we had to get Mama Odie to level 3. And she did because there were some more activities and quests for the event that you needed to do, but in order to do them, you needed to get her to 3. So leveled her to 3. It didn't seem difficult at all. Her drops are, not the easiest, not the hardest, but you don't need a ridiculous amount of them. And then finally, when you get through the quests and the tasks, you would then get Welcome Tiana. And Tiana unlocks in about a day and a half. She opens up on Friday morning. So that's the end of chapter 2. At that point, again, it's just collecting EC and getting stuff ready. So what do you think? Wrapping up chapter 2 and the event so far, Casey. Give me some thoughts on that.
I mean, so far so good. For people who are new to leveling, it's always good with these limited time events. I think they get the characters up to maybe level 5, level 6 before the next phase is going to hit, because that's for sure. Like you're going to probably need to level them up further once you start the next chapter. So if you can get them up a little bit more, like I definitely think you could skip and waste. You can skip that time period of having to use that time to actually level them up. So I think try to get to, like I said, 5, 6, and I think you're smooth sailing.
Yeah, generally 5, 6 is you're right on target. That's where you want to have your characters. It's hard because like I had Prince Naveen and Eudora at 5, and I'd gotten all the tokens, but it's 50 gumbo.
I know that gumbo just takes a lot out of you.
Yeah, so really another tip is just really, even if you don't have a lot of time to play and go through and collect all the magic, collect all the tokens, send your characters out for tests, try to check in every 2 hours and just hit the little button on the side for those ugly little voodoo dolls. And just because they'll take you hit that button, it will take you right to that cursed voodoo doll. Tap it, hit the button again, it will take you right to the next one. It takes just 10 seconds, but that you really, really need to get as much gumbo as possible. I think Casey's looking down right now and tapping on some gumbo as we speak.
Hey, you were right. It literally took 10 seconds. I'm done.
Yeah, so you really just want to do that. You need to have that gumbo because it's a lot. At the beginning you're just like, oh, well, you're not even thinking about it because you have. So it takes a little bit. To go from 5 to 6 is 50 gumbo, and you're only getting 5 every 2 hours. So just that's another little tip of the day for you as we're getting into the home stretch of this event. All right, so that's chapter 2. I had a really good time with chapter 2. I enjoyed the Mama Odie storyline. I enjoyed the Tiana's Palace and everything that went along with it. So I think it was a nice chapter. I felt it was short but sweet. I don't really have anything else on that. Any last thing on that, Casey?
Not really. Let's start chapter 3.
Yeah.
Let's go at this.
So chapter 3. Let's talk about that for a little bit and what's coming up. So obviously the beginning of chapter 3, Tiana will unlock, and you will start to needing to collect tokens for her. So if you want to get a little head start on possibilities for what Tiana's tokens might be and who's going to be the people that need to get her, make sure you join our Facebook group because people have a lot of speculation threads and maybe some things from the famous Chinese hackers that might give you a little head start on welcoming Tiana. Also, Charlotte will unlock. She will be a premium character that is known. And she will help out with tokens and quests and stuff. So I highly recommend getting her. There'll be 2 ways to get her. She will be available with gems. We don't know how many she is. My guess is probably 300 if they kind of follow along with how it's been going. So I think she's going to be probably 300 gems, or she'll have a bundle. KC, what do you think the bundle will be? Any ideas or predictions?
Well, generally when a bundle you get the character, but then you usually get something else as well.
Right.
Question is it going to be this currency? Is it going to be... They've already got that frog stand, already, that creamy froggy stand, right? Is that already out?
It is. The green cream frog stand is in the radiant chests.
Okay, it is. So I guess... I'm trying to think back to the live stream if there's any other concessions or anything that they had.
There is the Dr. Facilier's top hat stand, but if you look, it actually doesn't release until chapter 4. So that will be something that comes out later.
So I'm just going to predict and say maybe Charlotte and event currency, maybe?
Yeah, no, that's a very good guess. Charlotte and event currency, or Charlotte and radiant chests, or Charlotte and gems. I think are going to be the biggest possibilities. I don't think she would come with a Swamp Gumbo stand since that already came out with Louis. And I really don't think there's anything else. So those are all good guesses, and I think it'll probably be $5.99 for this. That's my prediction on what the bundle will cost, U.S. dollars, that is.
Yes. Canadian would be higher. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, usually a couple of dollars more, like $7.99 or $9.99 Canadian.
Something like that. Yeah. Nothing too crazy, but
yeah, like $89.99 Canadian.
Still, I mean, I want that $5.99. Come on.
And a moose.
And a moose.
But yeah, so that's gonna be coming out. Every listener here who is serious about wanting to complete the collection and or this event, I highly suggest getting your hands on Charlotte. She's going to be an awesome character too. Her storyline is going to be so much fun. So definitely want to do that. All right. So what else is going to be happening in Chapter 3? Mama Odie's tree the attraction will become buildable. I assume that it's going to be after you welcome Tiana, do some storyline with her, and then get her to level 2. It's very similar to the going down to the Bayou attraction with Mama Odie. So then the big question is, does the comfy costume unlock? Right now, it just says that you need to welcome Tiana. It doesn't give like this unlocks in X number of days written under it. So the question is are we going to be able to start working on the comfy costume now, when starting at Chapter 3, or is the comfy costume going to stay locked until Chapter 4? My guess is that it will not be available till Chapter 4 when the Shadow Man unlocks the following week.
I think personally that it seems like the pattern for these comfy outfits are getting like more and more difficult. So while I think the pacing might be pretty good to get most of the stuff, I think this comfy outfit's going to be pretty difficult, in my opinion. But I don't know. I'm just wild guess, right?
Yep. No, I agree. I think that the pacing's going to get a little harder. I think Chapter 3 is going to be a little bit harder. I think that it's going to be slower in regards of like how long it's going to take you to complete. I think it's going to still be very doable for a newer player, but I think that there'll be like a newer player that's pretty consistent and staying on top of things who will like be done with the chapter like right when it's over at the end of the week. So that's good. But I think Chapter 4 is going to be hard. I just have this gut feeling that to get Dr. Facilier, doing the big battle against him, getting the comfy costume, my guess is that you won't be able to even get the comfy costume until after you've already acquired Dr. Facilier. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
Also, I think with the battling, if I recall, having the premium characters, if you do get them, is a massive. Like you're gonna probably need them moving forward for the battling. I'm thinking because I remember in the previous one, it's like you need both these premium characters to get one drop, both these characters to get a drop, and then the last one was like 2 premium characters. It was like, well, that doesn't help me.
Yes.
So I don't know. We'll see, but the pattern seems to be get the premium characters, you're pretty good moving forward.
Yes. Going back and thinking about Wreck-It Ralph with the cubes, I think that's exactly what it was. I think it was two of the freemium characters, and then it was 1 character and 1 premium, and then another 1 character and 1 premium for the to get the cubes. So yes, the premium characters make a huge difference with the speed of the event. Okay, so that is it for the Princess and the Frog recap, and for what we are expecting to see in the future. So stay tuned to see what you got. Remember, you can always follow me on Twitter. It's twitter.com/ATK podcast or @ATK podcast, facebook.com/ATK podcast. Join our Facebook group where we're talking all day and all night about this. We have people from all over the world, so there's posts going on in the middle of the night. So people are always talking. And make sure you follow KC too, at KC Loves Gaming. And his YouTube channel is amazing. He posts awesome videos, so make sure you check those out too.
Thank you for that plug. I appreciate it.
Well, I have you on the show. I would think I like your content.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right. So one other thing, we have a couple more little things in the news to talk about. We had talked the last few weeks about issues for Windows users, specifically that events were disappearing. It started with the Tower Challenge, where the Tower Challenge just ended a few days early for some Windows players. And Disney Magic Kingdoms told them to contact them using the in-game customer care. Then it started happening with the Princess and the Frog event, where Windows players just, especially right in the middle of the mini events. So, it's rough to have, your thing stop and, and if they were to restore it, get, some compensation for tokens or things that you could have earned during that time. But to kind of have it in the middle of a mini event hurts because, you're battling on leaderboards. So, it's still happening. Today, Disney Magic Kingdoms put out another official statement, and it reads, "Attention, Windows Kingdomers. We are working diligently to fix the issue causing the time limit events to end early. We've recruited our best sorceresses and sorcerers to help resolve this issue, and we will update you when we have more information. Until then, we encourage you to contact customer care to have your event restored. Please note that we will look after affected users once this is resolved. Stay tuned for more information." So they're just saying, listen, we know this is a problem. We're working on it. It's going slower than expected, but we're working on it, and we'll take care of you. That's, Disney Magic Kingdoms always takes care of their people. One of the first ways that I had gotten in touch with customer care was during the Little Mermaid event when I was part of the Dingle Hopper bug.
Yeah.
And they took care of me. They made sure that I was on the list of people. They restored it to me, and then I got 10 Dingle Hoppers. So I wasn't far behind in the event. So they'll take care of you, but I'm sorry if you're having this problem, Windows people. Yeah, it's Windows.
Yeah, there's not much you can really do. Like you said, they do a good job, so you just have to put faith that they'll figure it out in the end.
I blame Bill Gates.
I will also.
Okay, and one other thing I want to mention. I know we're a little over 2 weeks away from this, but I just want to take a quick second to remind everyone about the 3rd anniversary concession stand. It will be available March 17th as the daily login reward. So mark your calendars, March 17th. Make sure you don't skip logging in that day. All right, so let's go on into the events of the week. We have 2 that started, which is pretty normal during the event time. The first one was Storm Clouds. Yes, Tap the Clouds. Everyone's favorite event. It's a tapper. It puts everyone on equal ground. This Storm Clouds started on the 21st of February and ended on the 23rd of February. And there were Radiant Chests and event currency as the rewards. The Storm Clouds spawn in groups of 8 every 2 hours. And the most you could get was 192 clouds. So rank 1 through 5 got 550 EC plus 3 Radiant Chests. Rank 6 through 50 got 450 EC and 2 Radiant Chests. And then people got Radiant Chests all the way down through rank 600. And then it was just some EC as the consolation prize. So, did you tap the clouds? And how did you do with the tapping?
I tapped well. Casey tapped well, and
are you going to change your Twitter handle to Casey tapped well?
Casey taps clouds. But I think it was maybe just below 150. So I got the ×2 Radiant chests, which does help. I would have preferred the top whatever would be the ×3 Radiant chest, but I'm respectable. I'm in that range where I'm playing regularly. So as long as you play regularly, you'll do pretty well, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And the typical advice to newcomers and stuff is set timers. If you wanna do this, just set timers, and you're guaranteed for rank 1. Unless of course you have a rogue cloud that hides somewhere. Yeah. So this was a good event. I placed top 50 as well. So I was fine with that. I got my 2 Radiant chests, and I got absolutely nothing of value out of them. So my Radiant chest luck has been absolutely terrible. unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't remember what I really got. It's been a little too long for Casey's brain to figure it out. But I think it was just tokens and stuff of that nature. Not too bad, I guess. But you know, you want to get some of the better things in there for sure.
I'm going to buy a radiant chest while on the air right now, while we're recording. I have my daily radiant chest here. So I'm going to spend 25 gems, and I'm going to see what I get here. So let's see if I can get the green cream soda stand while we're recording. Got the chest here. Let's go to open it.
This is groundbreaking. This is groundbreaking, everybody.
All right, let's see. 3, 2, 1.
1, stop.
And I got another throne. I think I have 5 of them now. But, all right. Tomorrow I will be going for the green cream stand.
I'm going to do the same thing. How about that?
All right, we have a groundbreaking live action.
This is true groundbreaking, folks.
This is the live action stuff going on. This is why people listen or watch our show.
Absolutely. Okay. I'm just going to... You see that?
Yes. Let's see it.
I can't see my face, but... Okay.
Here we go. It's got some tokens and...
3, 2, 1. Yeah. What is it? It is a dandelion lamppost.
Dandelion lamppost. There you go.
That is it. So you scored better than me. I'd rather have the throne.
They're both decorations. They're both good. I just need that stand. Give me that stand. That's all I want.
That stand that I can't even pronounce.
All right. Moving on. Thank you for that little tangent, everyone, and the excitement of the live purchases. All right. Next event we had was Striking Gold, the trophy event. And the rewards for this were, they had mentioned during the live stream, there was the Princess and the Frog Gold Trophy, which is very cool looking. So ranks 1 through 10 got 3,000 EC, the trophy, and 20 gems. 11 through 50 got 2,500 EC and the Frog Trophy. And then it was just EC from there. So you had to place top 50 to get the trophy. Did you get the trophy, Casey?
Drum roll, please. Yes.
Yes.
I got the golden trophy. And this is actually one thing I'm really excited when these limited time events hit. Because they look so cool. They're so unique looking. This adds a lot more, I guess, flair in your kingdom as well. So
yes.
You? What about you?
Yes, I did. I was holding I was holding like kind of like, I went in a little earlier than I thought I would. I always just tap stuff and I always wind up getting a trophy. But I was like in that like 9 through like 11 to 13 range and kind of battling back and forth and I was just like, I need to sleep. And I looked at the leaderboard and I realized like, I'd be fine sleeping, and I had a big enough gap that I knew I'd stay top 50. So I think I placed like 32, but I slept, which was great. Fortunately, I was in a position where I could just send guys out every hour, and I was working from home, so I was able to just quickly just check in, send them, and be done with it. And so it was good. And then at home, so I was very happy with that. And now I have another awesome trophy in my collection.
Very nice.
My Wreck-It Ralph trophy is actually probably one of my favorite ones, but this will sit right next to it. I'm going to have to get a trophy room.
Yes. I think I was kind of in the same ballpark as you. Like, I was able to tap with the 1 hours here and there, and then big enough gap where I was able to get a bit of sleep. I don't sleep a lot, but when I can, use that wisely. And I think I was, 20th or something? So, like, not super high, but enough where it's like, I know I'm going to get the trophy, so why bother going more?
Yeah, I agree. It wasn't worth it just for 20 gems.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, awesome. Those are the mini events for the week. So now we're going to move on into the segment that we started last week. So instead of Is It Worth It?, we have a new segment this week that we're going to be continuing called There's No Place Like Home. It's kind of like, is it worth it for sending characters home? This is where I'm going to talk about how sending characters home has changed the way I've played Disney Magic Kingdoms. So a little recap for everyone for last week. Last week, I had talked about how people had said in our group that basically during an event, they send everybody that's not collecting for the event EC or tokens of whatnot, they send them all home. So I tried that, and I wound up with about 116 characters at home, and I talked about how it was significantly faster to go through the game. It only took me like a couple of minutes, and I was in and out, and I had also mentioned that it kind of felt like I wasn't really even playing because it was so fast that I wasn't even in the game very much. And of course, the significant amount of magic reduction was crippling as far as trying to earn magic. So that's last week. So this week, I changed it up, and I tried two different things this week to kind of see what kind of balance I would find. Now, keep in mind that while I tried these things, I always kept token collectors out. So when I leveled someone up, I'd go check home, and if they said they collected tokens, I pulled them immediately out of home. And I also made sure to get any collectors. So yeah, so everyone was out when I needed them. So the first thing I tried is that I took out all characters that had a 2-hour quest and an 8-hour activity, 2-hour and 8-hour activity, as those are the most common ones that I use. So when I check in throughout the day, I'll send them out for 2 hours, and I'll try to check in just about every 2 hours or 4, but for the most part 2. And then at night, I like to send them all out for 8. At 10 o'clock, I'll send them all out, and then I'm good to go for when I wake up in the morning around 6:37, which is way too early. So that's what I decided to do. And I felt like my magic production went up significantly. When I took all these characters out, I only had about, I shouldn't say only, but I had about 60 characters at home. So that's about half of what I had in there last week. And I felt a big boost in my magic production. I felt like I was gaining obviously much faster. I felt like my numbers were moving up at kind of the pace I'd like to see them moving. So it didn't feel like debilitating where I wasn't getting any magic. And yeah, I felt like it was good. But, I still felt like it wasn't the perfect thing for me to do. So I kind of tweaked it a little bit. So, again, while keeping the collectors out when they were finished collecting, what I did was I removed characters who I had to scroll to get to the 2-hour task. So I found like a lot of times, like, there would be a character who had a 60-minute quest and another 60-minute activity, and then they'd have another activity that was like a joint 60-minute. So I actually had to take the time to scroll up to get to the 2-hour activity. So I took those players out. I wanted the 2-hour activity to just be there in that second slot so that I could go boom, 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 and just, very quickly go through my characters and just send them out on the 2-hour tasks. Doing this also introduced 6 people that didn't have 8-hour nightly activities. They had 6-hour, for example. And I will say that I made sure that anyone who only had a 4-hour as a max was excluded from this. Sorry, Maximus, you're still terrible. So that's what I've been doing, and again, with this, I've had about the same amount of characters home, about 50 to 60 characters at home, and I feel like this is kind of right around where I want to be, because I want to be able to fly through characters that aren't collecting tokens. I don't want to be scrolling up and down and having to kind of like figure out, like, I just want to be able to go through them fast. So at night, I get that I'm going to have to scroll, it's like my nightly activity to like send them out. That's okay. But yeah, so I felt like this was good. Yeah, so that's kind of my recap for my experience with sending characters home this week. I'd say it's much more. Last week with everyone home was not enjoyable. I'd say this week with both they were enjoyable because I felt like I was playing the game again, and I feel like I'm starting to get into what feels comfortable for me, so that I'm not overburdened, because it was really taking too long to play. So I feel like I'm hitting the right spot. So I will have more of an update next week where I'm going to try to pull almost everyone out and see if it just becomes too much. And then we'll kind of get a final summary in the segment next week for what I think works best for me, as this is the first time I'm experimenting with the home feature. Whew, that was a lot of talking and flapping. KC.
That was, but I mean, that's, you did a lot of experimenting there, and I mean, I don't know where you even begin to start, but you've given me something to kind of look towards as well, because what I normally do is, mainly because I'm a long-term player, I just send everybody on like the longest quest I can do, because it's just easier. But at the end of the day, if you want to try to get more magic, you have to try to find that balance. And I think what you've done is given people, especially people who are trying to get more magic, which is pretty much everybody, you've given everybody a chance to actually get more magic, but not make it excruciatingly painful to have every single character that takes like an hour to go through everything. But I think that personally what they have to do, or they should do, is don't have less magic when you send people home. It's almost like a penalty or a punishment, you know what I mean, by sending characters home. Maybe give everybody the same amount of magic, or is that just too easy?
No, that's too easy.
So?
There's significant diminishing returns, big words here, for magic. So like when you send a character out for a 60-minute task, you're getting 40 magic. When you send them out for 2 hours, you're getting 75. So you're losing 5 magic technically over that period. When you send them out for 4 hours, you're going down to 110. So you're, instead of 150, you're down to 110. When you go to 8 hours, you're down to 200. So you're losing, again, even more. So if you think about how much you'd have in 8 hours, if you sent every hour, 8, 16, 24, you'd have 320 magic. So you're down 120 magic in that time period. So they're not going to, sending characters home and you not having to send them out for tasks, the fact that they're even earning magic, I was talking to the other people's perspective, and they were saying, listen, we were just begging to get a place to send people home. And now, and they even gave us some magic. And now the people who are newer are like, hey, we're sending characters home and we're not getting magic. So it's funny looking at it from different perspectives.
Yeah, it's almost like this home feature, or whatever you call it. It's almost like it's more for long-term players.
Yes, absolutely.
Just like, I don't care about these characters. I'm just going to throw them off. Oh, you give me magic? That's cool. I don't need it. But for new players, like you said, it's like they don't even probably realize that it's even a penalty. And when they do, they're like, well, now I got to send everybody off. And then it's kind of like almost like a can of worms almost, because it's like you like the fact you can send them off, but now they're getting less magic. And it's like, well, can you change it for us? Because I'm new and I'm, all this sort of thing. But
newer players,
the balance is still there, I think.
Newer players will never send people home. I mean, I've been playing for a while, and this is my first time experimenting sending people home, because it doesn't even unlock until I think you get like 100 characters or something to that nature. No, it used to be that, but it doesn't even unlock for a while. There's no reason for newer players to ever have to send people home, because the magic loss is just so significant when you're really, really needed at the beginning of the game. This is really more for people who have hundreds, 100+ characters, that it just takes them so long to manage their characters that, this is kind of what it's meant for. So I feel like, it's been fun experimenting. I'm looking forward to this next week of experimenting and really trying to find that right balance for me, where it's all about how much time I'm playing in a clip. 15 minutes was too long, but if I get that down to like 8, I think it would feel much better. So, but all right, the only other thing I wanted to mention about sending characters home is that I had mentioned last week that I wish that characters who had wishes waiting for them during the wishing event, they didn't get moved to the front of the line. So that was just one thing I wish kind of would have been improved. What I was very happy to see was that characters who could collect trophies during the trophy event were moved to the front of the trophy event. It didn't say collects trophies, it says collect tokens, but we got the point. I was able to go there. I was easily able to pull all the trophy getters out. So that was really cool. I'm glad they did that. I think they should just add that for Wishers as well.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. They're always tweaking. That's what I like about the developer, because it's like they listen to the audience. They actually do a lot. And it's a minor thing, but, I mean, it makes a big difference.
Yeah, I like it. So, all right. So that's it. That's what I have for There's No Place Like Home. Anything else you want to throw in, KC, about your home experience?
Not really. I mean, I tried it once, and I'm like, I don't like it, so I just stopped doing it. It takes a long time to send the characters off, but I mean, I'll live with it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, so that is it for that. So stay tuned until next week for the conclusion of There's No Place Like Home. And again, if you have any thoughts or comments on it, we'd love to hear from you. Hit us up on social media at ATK Podcast. Or at KC Loves Gaming. We'd love to hear from you. Tell us what you think. Join the Facebook group. Love to hear from you. All right, it's that time. Feature report. Feature report. Feature report. Feature report is a segment where we talk about ideas or features we'd like to see implemented into the game. Okay, so we have two little feature reports that I want to highlight from some of the listeners this week. The first one is from Hayden. Hayden says, it would be nice to see how many of the main tokens, for example, Wi-Fi tokens, you have to collect for an entire group somewhere on the character select screen. Or maybe you could have a tab that shows everything you need to collect for all characters of a set. That's very interesting, and I kind of get it, because, you know, when you level a couple of characters from, let's just say, use Wreck-It Ralph, you know, you have a couple of people out, you're just collecting Wi-Fi tokens, and if you look, if you need, you know, 50 Wi-Fi tokens for Ralph, when you click on Ralph, it's going to show 50 out of 50, but you're still collecting Wi-Fi tokens. You don't know how many you need unless you go through every single character and count how many you would need in total, and then, you know, start to, you know, doing all sorts of math and stuff. People don't want to be doing math, right? So
exactly.
I think that's a cool idea to maybe have somewhere, like, even in the corner or something, you know, like total number of tokens needed. And then the other interesting idea is, like, you know, like having like a character tab where it says, like, you know, it just lists all Wreck-It Ralph character tokens needed, you know, and it just shows you all the tokens you need. It's a cool suggestion.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the whole thing with the tab. Like, for sure, just tap it. Oh, this is what we need. Boom, done. You know, at least give us a total of what we need. I think that's just a big thing. Yeah. Because, like you said, it doesn't tell us anything. So I'm like, I don't want to do math.
Yeah.
I'm Canadian.
Well, a follow up to this, which I've been thinking and wanting for a long time, is from Stacy. Stacy says, I wish it would show you how many tokens you need for the next level while leveling up a character. And yes, I couldn't agree more. Like, when you send a character out for even, you know, short quests, but or short levels, but even the longer ones, 4 hours, 8 hours, and you start collecting for them again, one, you don't know how many tokens you have for them, and two, you don't have the option to click on the left-hand side to see, like, who you could send out for quests, you know, or for tokens, you know, like, that whole thing is gone. And I like that. I like having that there. So yeah, I'd really like to see that kind of put back in.
Yep, like I said before, just give us a number. That's all we're asking for.
Yeah, I you know, just kind of change the overlay on that. I think that would be a great idea. So thank you, Hayden and Stacy, for the awesome feature reports. If you have a feature that you'd like to see implemented, please write in using any of our various social media platforms and let us know your idea could be on next week's show. All right, so we're going to go into our next segment, which is Around the Community. Around the Community is a place to highlight some awesome content created by Disney Magic Kingdom's fans. So this week we are going to do something a little different. We're not going to do any content from Tom Wright or in that nature. We're not going to do any questions. We're going to talk a little bit about land. Land has been a very hot topic lately, and land's always a hot topic, but it seems like the kettle's been boiling a little bit hotter than normal lately. There's been some really good, interesting conversations in our Facebook group about it, and another really great post that just went up today about it. That's really getting like, a lot of steam, no pun intended, with the kettle. So Disney Magic Kingdoms, in a post today, had replied to some people who were complaining that there wasn't enough land, and their comment was, "Thank you so much for sharing your feedback, Kingdomers. Even though we haven't unlocked more land with the latest update, we're seeking for ways to do so in the future. For us to do so in the future," I think it meant future, "as this is a top priority for us. Since this can impact the game's performance, we want to make sure we do it right. We're continuously looking for ways to optimize Disney Magic Kingdoms while also giving you and other players exciting new content and events." So this is what this reads to me is just that if they keep opening up land really quickly, it can slow down people's games. And I can tell you that I've noticed on older devices that I had, when I had a lot of characters out, and there was like, clouds out, and there was a lot of things happening, I did see a performance decrease. Now that I have a newer phone, I don't see anything like that anymore. And a newer iPad, so I don't have any of those performance, but I understand that when you're making a game like this, you have to make it for everybody. So I guess there's a little bit more to it than just them not wanting to open up the land. So
yeah, there's a lot of factors involved. Like I found one thing as well. Like I have 2 iPads, and one's a bit older, and it's using, I think, version 10, and it seems to run actually pretty well. But then I upgraded to like the newer one, which is what I guess 12 point whatever, and I've noticed it's really lagged and slowed down a lot. So I would think maybe a good tip is to not update to the newest version if possible. But I mean, there's, like I said, tons of things you have to take in consideration on their end, especially with older devices as well. But I found with older devices, maybe stick with a lower thing that works. Don't upgrade it, because that can just plummet everything. It seems on my end anyway.
Sure, and then one of the things also you got to keep in mind is that when they develop this, they're not just doing it in one place. They're developing it on iOS, they're developing it on Android, they're developing it on Windows when things aren't disappearing, and they're also developing it on the Amazon Kindle or the Amazon Fire operating system. So when they do releases, it's a simultaneous release. So if they get it working on Android, and the speed and performance are fine, they still have to tune it at 3 other places before they can really make something happen, like a big feature happen, like the Kingdom Editor or things like that. So I get it, but I think that the rate of release of land is a little bit slower than it should be, and the one other thing that you have to think about is that, for the most part, we can see all the land. So what's going to happen when all the land is out?
That's a very good question. I had never thought about that.
So one of the concept things that I'd be working with Tom Wright, who is our concept designer for different expansions and things, was an entire Epcot themed expansion where an entire new park was released. One of the things, I don't want to give too much, but like there'd be a monorail between the 2 parks, and then you could scroll over to your other park, and then in the middle you have the giant golf ball, aka I'm blanking, the planet Discovery Earth, and then you have that instead of the Princess Castle in the middle, and then you start building around Epcot. So that who knows? Maybe that's going to be something they do. You have all the different Disney parks to work with, but eventually you're going to run out of land. So it's interesting to think about how they'll eventually expand once all that land is eventually used.
You know what they could do is they could have it in a completely different area where you click a button and let's say you take a little monorail and you have a completely new area, new land, new everything. It wouldn't be joined, but you at least have more space to work with. I know some games did that in the past, and then people got mad because they wanted that in the actual like main area. But yeah, it's something to think about maybe if you want to.
Yeah.
Hopefully, but I don't think people would like that.
That's something they're going to have to do, right? And I bet you it's something's already in the works, or concepts and things are already being worked on for that. So we'll see. That's a long ways away. So, all right. So here's something that we have never done before. I am going to. I was talking with one of the fans of the show, and she was very passionate about this topic. So she had written in an editorial for her thoughts about land. So I am going to read this editorial now. It's a little lengthy, but I think it's really, really good. So I'm going to give everyone a listen here. I guess I'll put the disclaimer out that the thoughts and words of this editorial are in no way reflected by Around the Kingdom or Around the Kingdom of Disney Magic Kingdoms podcast. AKA, this is not what I think. This is written in by a fan of the show, and this is her opinion, so enjoy. All right. Thoughts on land from a longtime player. It's interesting what different approaches people take to playing the same game. I understand that some people don't care about unlocking more land. Maybe they're still progressing through the storyline and are enjoying the characters, and it's not that big of a deal. But I love Disney World. I still remember the first time I played this game, and the euphoria I felt being able to walk down Main Street, USA, towards the beautiful Cinderella Castle, even though I was sitting on my couch at home. I could not believe they had made a game so like the real Disney World. A major aspect of the game for me is being able to earn the attractions that are like the real ones in the parks. I love placing them in the parks and arranging the concessions and decorations that go along with them. Even the movie attractions that only exist in the game are fun to collect and arrange together. But for quite some time, I haven't had room to place them according to theme. I have to place them according to size. I've had to downsize concessions as well as place only one of each, even though some of them are really neat. The detail is amazing, and I know they won't be back for a long time, if ever. And I have hardly any decorations out at all. I've lost all my excitement about earning them at the end of events or tower challenges because I know I probably won't be able to place them in my park. I remember when they released the Princess Dressing Room. It is massive. And we had to have it for Wreck-It Ralph. And we had to have the princess comfy costumes to go in it. And now that Wreck-It Ralph event is over, it sits in my park and I rarely use it. The quests are available for princesses and the comfy costumes are too short. When they released the Princess Dressing Room, they finally unlocked a tiny quad behind It's a Small World, the last section of Fantasyland. I had needed that space even before the release of the Princess Dressing Room. There was a hefty price tag attached to that section of land, but I worked to earn it and finally unlocked the land, but the Princess Dressing Room took up nearly all of it. And then they also released 4 Wreck-It Ralph attractions, 3 concession stands, and several decorations. My park was already full. I had to completely rearrange everything to fit it all in, and I had to part with a lot of concessions and squeeze attractions into any place they would fit. And that has become a standard for me now. Anytime I earn or buy a new attraction, I'll have to rearrange my entire park, even though certain sections of it I really, really love. And anytime I rearrange my park, I have to wait for characters to finish tasks, sometimes 24-hour tasks, so that I'm able to move the attractions. That's a lot of downtime when this happens. Or I spend diamonds speeding them up when I get tired of waiting. I've come away with 2 strong feelings from Gameloft as far as what their goals for the game might be. I think that they want to slow things down so that the game lasts longer. Players were flying through the storyline of the game in its original version, and land unlocked with the defeat of villains, so maybe that's why they switched to the Tower Challenge event format. The game also does seem a little bit more monetarily driven. The time limits on the events and tower challenges can often make players feel like they have to purchase bundles, gems, and event currency to be able to complete the challenges or gain the characters of the event. I struggle with feelings of guilt about spending money on a video game, but I do love their content and usually end up investing in the bundles so that my collections are complete. I had decided before the last tower challenge that I just wasn't paying for any more attractions in the chests until they opened up more land. I just can't squeeze anything else in my park. Then they released the China Pavilion. Y'all, I had to have it. So I bought a chest and I wound up getting Steamboat Willie. But then I bought another chest and got the China Pavilion. And so for the next 2 days, I worked on rearranging my whole park. And at this point, there is literally nowhere else for me to put so much as a hanging lantern. So I was hopeful when I watched the live feed. I just knew that they were going to open up some land somewhere. I saw we'd be getting 4 new attractions for Princess and the Frog, but no new land, and I was really upset. I continued to watch the feed as many people began to comment for the need for land, but the comments were ignored. I wish they would have addressed the elephant in the room. I remember 6 months ago, or whenever it was, they made a big deal in a live feed about how they'd heard us on land and had added new land into Frontierland and Adventureland. But then they opened up only 2 quads of it, and the rest is sitting there still, coming soon. I feel like Eleven in Stranger Things, begging to see her friends after repeatedly being promised she would see them soon. She finally screams in frustration, "When is soon?" Many of us players would like to know when is soon too. The section with Eric's castle and the seashore is lovely, and would have been wonderful to be able to use with all the Little Mermaid attractions. When you love all things Disney, it's a bit maddening not to be able to access some of these areas. Same thing with the Pirates of the Caribbean section. It would be fun to put the ride next to the area of the park that's still cursed. I will admit that I'm still quite picky about my park, and at this moment I have Stitch's Great Escape and the Princess Dressing Room next to Thunder Mountain. Ugh, the horror. I've seen a lot of people say online just to put something in storage if you don't have the room. I struggle with that idea though, because players work hard to earn these attractions or pay for them. So it seems that we should be able to therefore display them proudly and use them in our parks. I have a couple of suggestions for Gameloft to help with player perception. I think with every release of multiple new attractions, they need to go ahead and open up another quad of land, even if it has a high price tag. We can eventually earn it. As for players that don't mind storing things and don't want more land, well, they don't have to buy it. But they need to at least give us the option. At the very least, if they start a new event with multiple new attractions, they need to address whether or not we'll have an option to get more land. I don't expect them to explain every aspect of the game. That's part of the fun, figuring it out. But to keep things positive and hopeful for longtime players, some mention of a land plan would really go a long way. Or, if they can't open up new land, how about some screenshots of high-level parks that have nearly all the attractions placed? They could easily link them in the new news tab. I still love the game. They get so many things right. They just need to address the land issue. I won't stop playing. For now, if anyone needs me, I'll be over at Disney Magic Kingdoms, rearranging my park again. Whew, well, that is some really great content. Thank you, Kate, for writing that in. I think that a lot of really great points were made there. We had just mentioned before reading this, how they did put out a comment about performance, and that being one of the reasons why they haven't unlocked more land. But I do understand your frustration. I have a lot of stuff in storage that I wish I could get out. I like having my stuff themed together. That's really important to me when I built my park. And when I rebuild it after this event, I plan on doing that and documenting the process to everyone on the show. I like keeping all my attractions together. I like having them in the appropriate lands. I like doing all that. And I felt like I was very restricted when I did that last. So, yes, I think that I agree with a lot of those points. Casey?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Because like we talked about with the land before and performance issues and things of that nature, I'm on board with the fact that I like to keep things together with themes and everything. And the fact that we can't do it, you just throw it out the window. You've got to store everything. There's one thing as well that's kind of crossed my mind, like, what if they like shrink everything and make things smaller? Would that affect everything? Because if it doesn't, that would make the land a little bit stretched out more. Does that make sense?
I understand what you're saying. Like for example,
but it would look funny,
like
look weird. I think.
Well, like example, the Kraken is like gigantic, or Omnidroid City. You know what I mean? Those two things forever will live in my storage unless there's a trophy event. You know, when I pull out the Kraken. But you know, the thing is like when you look at people who have all the attractions in the game and the way they put it out, there's some people in some other Facebook groups, Disney Magic Kingdom's game, Disney Magic Kingdom's Champions. I'm thinking of a guy named Daniel, who's really amazing at this. When you see someone with all the attractions of the park, it looks so congested. It doesn't look fun, you know. When I look at newer players and I look at their parks when they're showing them off to me and you know, being proud of them, their quad of land, their little plot of land will have like 1 or 2 attractions, a couple of decorations, a couple of concessions, you know, and it will look like a fun place where the kids could walk around. They have space, you know, because like when you go, it just looks more welcoming, as opposed to like people who are literally squeezing every inch and plotting, you know, using like coordinates and these maps and things. Like how are they going to get every little thing together? I really think you should be able to put out all your attractions. I think that it you know, having stuff in storage doesn't feel good.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's so difficult. It really is. I mean, it almost looks like, you know, the kingdoms are like one big farming session. Because, you know, when you do farming and stuff, everything just jammed together. I got to tap all this sort of thing. That's what it feels like. Everything is so congested, like you said. And how do the kids and all the visitors and stuff, how do they even walk? Like, how do they get through everything? It's impossible.
I've actually had like kids stuck. Like, you know, I've seen them like stuck where they couldn't get around stuff before. So, yeah, I mean, I the only you know, I have some land that still I can open. I know that some opens up with the Peter Pan storyline. I still don't have the 3 million plot of land, but I have a lot in storage. I mean, I have an Omnidroid City in storage. That takes up just about an entire plot of land. So it's hard. I get where Disney Magic Kingdom is coming from. I get the performance things that they need to address. But I think that it's a rock and a hard place. You know, and it's just something that needs to be figured out.
It does, or maybe just release less stuff, I guess. But I mean, that's not a good business model. You want to release as much stuff as you possibly can. But I don't know. I mean, they'll think of something. I think they will. It's just a matter of what they come up with. They have the statement, so at least now everybody is fully aware of what's going on with it. It's just a question of what they're going to do.
Yeah. Well, stay tuned.
Yes. Stay tuned for the drama that is about to be. Yeah, we'll see.
Well, it's nothing new. This has been going on since I first started playing. So hopefully, you know, things kind of start working themselves out. But all right. Enough about land. If you want to talk more about it, Twitter @ATK Podcast, Facebook @ATK Podcast. Join our Facebook group. Let's talk about it. But all right. Let's move on and start wrapping things up. Some other things around the kingdom. The Radiant chests are available for 25 gems each, and we open them live on air. They are limited to 1 per day, and they will be available for about 6 more days. We don't know if bundles will be available in the future. We will wait and see. There is now what I call the even bigger event currency bundle that's available. It is now the 100 gems plus 5,000 event currency for $4.99 US. So you can grab that if you want to grab some gems and some EC. Little Mermaid chests are still available for the duration of the event for the usual price of 60 gems and $9.99 for a 6-pack. And then the Cotton Candy Cart and Swamp Gumbo stand are still available for 60 gems each in the shop. We have one new 5-star review and 1 new 5-star rating. So thank you so much. This is a review from All You Can Eat. And All You Can Eat titled this, Must Listen for the DMK Player. They say, if you enjoy playing the Disney Magic Kingdoms game, then you really need to be a part of the online community. There's no better place to start than with this podcast. Very informative and entertaining. Steve has great energy and enthusiasm. He's not on the Gameloft or Disney payroll, so he tells it like it is, and celebrates or groans along with the rest of us. And really, where else can you hear such a stirring and passionate parody of the Octonauts Creature Report song? Well, thank you so much, All You Could Eat. I really appreciate it. And you know, every review is nice to hear, and it helps get us seen. So thank you for that. All right, some shout-outs. This week, I want to give a big shout-out to Danielle. Danielle, thank you so much for being this week's Spotlight contributor to the group. It's really been nice having you and having all your posts that you've been putting up. So thank you so much for being our Spotlight contributor. KC, got any shout-outs today?
You know, not really, to be perfectly honest. But, I mean, I do appreciate everybody who's tuning in to watch this. If not for me, obviously for Steve as well, Blat, because you do an amazing job. I mean, what are we on, episode 27 now of the show?
22.
22?
But it feels like 20. Feels like 27.
Canada time is different here, so. But
it is.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
Well, thank you.
Basically, yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Casey. And a big shout out to you for joining us again. I really loved having you on. I got to make sure to get you on more often because it's really a lot of fun doing the show with you. All right, so next week, a geeky chick returns to the show after a long hiatus, and as we head into the home stretch of the Princess and the Frog event, so make sure you join us. We might even be live. If you want to be more involved with the show, you can follow us on Twitter at ATK Podcast and like our Facebook page at facebook.com/ATK Podcast. Here you'll find out before anyone else about breaking news that we hear, information on contests and giveaways, when new shows are published, and of course my ramblings and photos from my day-to-day playing. The show's Facebook group is up, and it's a great way to easily interact with me and other fans of the show and talk about our favorite game. The link to our group will be in the show notes, and you can also be found on the show's main Facebook page. Also, you can write into the show. Our email address is aroundthekingdompodcast@gmail.com. Let us know what you think about the show, what's working, what's terrible, or any other topic you want to write in about. Or even if you just want to say hi. We're now on YouTube. If you want to watch the show and see me and my awesome guests, please head on over and subscribe to our channel, like the video, and smash the bell to be notified when a new show goes live. The link to our channel will be in the show notes. If you want to help support the show, please head over to iTunes, subscribe to the podcast, and leave us a 5-star review. Doing this is quick and easy. It costs you nothing, but helps us greatly to be seen by other people so they can enjoy the show also. All 5-star reviews will be read at the end of each episode. Listening to the show is all we could really ask for, but if you do want to help support us in another way, please check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/AroundTheKingdom. We are over halfway towards our first goal to help the production of the show and get me a soundboard. So it's a great way to show your support for about $1 an episode. The page was just put up, so we will be adding some cool rewards to the tiers of support, but for now you'll get a special shout out at the beginning of each episode. Again, that's patreon.com/AroundTheKingdom. The link will be in the show notes. Thank you so much for joining us again this week. I am Steve Squirrel for myself and KC. We hope you have a great night, and we will see you around the kingdom next week.
Thank you, everybody, for watching this, and thank you, Steve, for having me on again. It was a blast.
Awesome. See ya. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.